glassy smooth and your ureters to be glassy smooth and tight. So here we see you have your kidney, and then you have a ureter, a small kind of straw-like tube that comes and enters your bladder. And then here we can see, you know, kind of how close everything is. You basically want to make sure that you have good, healthy bacteria in that area, because it's like a motel. You want there to never be a vacancy. Seriously. Like, if you have any spot on that lining that's not covered by healthy, friendly bacteria, that's just going to lead to have like a potential negative bacteria latch on. And that's when you've got a real problem. Okay, so blueberry and cranberry. This is cranberry harvesting. They are anti-adhesive. They're not actually antimicrobial. They have no effect on the actual bacteria once it latches on. What they do, though, is they prime your system to have less percentage of a chance for that bacteria to latch itself onto the ureter or the urethra or the lining of your bladder. And of course, you know, UTIs can lead to kidney infections, which is really horrible, and you don't want that because that could kill you. So this is a preventative measure. I would say if you drink like 4 ounces, like 1/2 glass of blueberry or cranberry juice with no added sugar, you're greatly reducing your risk of getting UTIs and kidney infections. Also, in addition to being anti-adhesion, they're astringent. So they're keeping everything really glossy, smooth, and tight, which is what you want. And they're also antioxidant, which is basically clearing free radicals, which then, you know, free radicals lead to cancer. So this is another, you know, and they also do a million other things that I'm not even going to talk about. This is one of the reasons why the more and more you study about natural medicines, the more amazing it becomes, because you realize, like, oh, wait a minute, this doesn't just keep me from getting an infection one way, this keeps me from getting an infection in 5 or 6 different ways. Like, that's incredible. Why we're not using these things, like, why herbal medicine is not the common thing blows my mind, because it's so effective. Okay, enhancing our natural defenses with immune modulators, stimulants, and diuretics. So this is really about herbs that work to enhance what you're already naturally doing on a daily basis. Immune modulators are ones that modulate the dynamic regulation of molecule messengers, such as cytokines, hormones, nitric oxide, new neurotransmitters, proteins, and peptides. So if you've never heard any of those words, just let it wash over you. Basically, you know, when we see things about, dumbed down things about the immune system or read them, it's all about like fighting, and it's like an army. It's really much more about communication. Like, a healthy immune system is one that has really good communication skills between cells. So immune modulators, basically, it's like a mediator. It's like a therapist. Like, they really come in and they're like, hey, everyone just calm down, work together. And then immunostimulants are really beneficial for people who have been compromised in some way, like HIV, or if you've had extended like antibiotic use. They're also administered continuously because they don't have any effect on the memory cells of your immune system. So echinacea is a very popular example of that, and it's something that you have to take over and over again. Astragalus, andrographis, thuja, garlic, calendula, myrrh, baptisia, boneset, elder. This is like a small list of herbs that have immunostimulating effects. These are really the ones that are most commonly used and the ones that I'm more familiar with, and the ones that are more used in this region of the world. Echinacea. Okay, echinacea is very useful for acute onset viral and bacterial disease. It increases TNF-alpha, IL-1, IL-6, which are just aspects of your immune system. Stimulate granulocytes, neutrophils, phagocytosis. Okay, so I didn't get to show you the video, but basically phagocytes are a type of white blood cell that actually engulf pathogens. So they're these like huge cells that are floating around, and they spot a pathogen or even a cell that's infected with a pathogen, and it will actually grow arms. There's videos of this you can watch, and it will engulf it. And then inside of the phagocyte, there are granulocytes that basically deteriorate that pathogenic cell or that pathogen. That's crazy. Okay, polysaccharides, which echinacea is chock full of, are immunostimulating. They're going to come out when you make a tea. And then you have alkylamide, which are immune modulating. They're going to come out when you make a tincture. So these are basically two different types of plant chemicals that are extracted in different ways. This is important because I'm hoping that you all are going to go grow some echinacea and harvest it and then make tea and tincture out of it. And I just want to let you know that you're going to be getting different qualities from different extraction methods. Okay, adaptogenic plants and immune modulating plants. This is a picture that I took of ashwagandha. I think the A got cut off there. Also known as Wham somniferae. It's one of my favorite adaptogenic herbs. Adaptogen basically means it works in a tonic way to harmonize the way that your body's responding to stress. And then schizandra, licorice root, cat's claw, reishi mushroom, astragalus, Siberian ginseng, and cordyceps. Maybe you've heard of some of these because now they're like in Whole Foods and as standardized extracts and capsules. I don't think I have any here. Just to tell you a cool story about cordyceps real quick. Cordyceps is actually a fungus that happens by a caterpillar eating a plant that has the fungus. The caterpillar then becomes like infected by the fungus and climbs to the highest peak of the nearest hill or mountain. And once it reaches that highest peak, the fungus then takes over its body and it sprouts a mushroom out of its dead carcass. Most cordyceps that you buy now as medicine are cultivated, but there still are people like in Tibet who are wild crafting cordyceps, and it's a very profitable market for native peoples in that area. So all of these work basically harmonizing the immune system. Reishi mushroom is another one of my favorite immune modulators. It's immune amphoteric, which basically means that if you have too much of one thing, it'll lessen that, but if you have too much of the opposite thing, it'll lessen that too. Or if you don't have enough of one thing, it'll bring you up in that, and if you don't have enough of another thing, it'll bring you up in that. Like somehow it's just this amazingly wise balancing act. It also is really good for things like allergies, autoimmune disease because of that amphoteric effect. And then stimulating the macrophage activity, which is the phagocytosis that I was describing before. So you get more of that engulfing. And then there's diaphoretics and lymphatics, which are kind of more dealing with, they're not as like exciting, but they do really good things too. So diaphoretics are things that make you sweat: cayenne, ginger, yarrow, boneset, and catnip. And then lymphatics are things that improve your lymph flow, which obviously you want to do if you're getting like some kind of recurrent infection or you can't clear it. You're just improving that flow of like getting it out of your body. So that's cleavers, which there's a picture up here that I took about a block away from my house. Phytolacca, which is also known as poke root, which is that thing that grows all over the city. It's got the purple berries and it grows like a weed. Bactesia and fringe tree are also lymphatics. And then just for a minute, I want to talk about synergy. So synergy is basically the interaction or cooperation of two or more organizations or agents to produce a combined effect greater than the sum of their separate effects. So synergy is obviously a big topic in herbal medicine and holistic healing, because we're seeing that, like, you know, not only does garlic have 38 different antibacterial phytochemicals in it, but then when you combine it with ginger, there's magic happening. Like, it's just amazing, right? So I'm going to show you how to make something. I think I'm almost to the end here, but also, you know, like, synergy is happening in our foods, where, like, you might have quercetin, and then you might have, like, E-galantin, which is the antioxidant thing in green tea, and they're combining, and they're doing awesome work together. So it's really about collaboration. So the final comments is just that antibiotic-resistant bacteria, it's showing us that evolutionary power comes from the ability to communicate and to adapt. And also, single method/molecule medicine does not take advantage of the more web-like and synergistic approach that plant and mushroom medicine offers. And then bacteria are our evolutionary ancestors and part of our very beings. Mammals have co-evolved with plants since the beginning of time, and we can really benefit from bacteria and plants and what they have to offer in teaching us as we evolve with them. So that is my presentation with the slideshow. Can everybody see what I'm doing up here? Little demo. Maybe we can bring the lights up a little bit. So I brought some herbs for people to look at. This is a brand of probiotic I really like. I tell all my clients to take probiotics.
What's it called?
It's called Ultimate Flora, and no refrigeration is necessary. So thirsty. So I also brought a bottle of oregano oil. So this is kind of like a way that people are trying to make money off of herbs, is by standardizing things. So this is a single herb, but it's standardized so they make sure that there's a specific amount of 2 constituents that somebody has done research on, proving its antibacterial effects. But it also says it's full spectrum, which if you get capsules, you want something that's full spectrum, because that means it has all the other phytochemicals that the plant naturally has. A note about essential oils, though, is that you never want to take them internally unless they're really, really diluted. Like, they are poisonous. An essential oil is basically distilled from like thousands and thousands of pounds of plant material, and they're gathering the volatile constituents of that plant in a tiny bottle. So you don't want to put them directly on your skin. You want to dilute them first. So like tea tree is a really great topical antibacterial, antifungal that I recommend a lot, but you want to dilute it. So I would do like 5 to 10 drops diluted in like 5 ounces of a carrier oil or a high-grade alcohol. So I'm going to show you all how to make my favorite thing ever. I'm going to show you how to make fire cider. This kind of gets us out of the heady realms and back into the kitchen. So fire cider, what you need to make this, you need an empty jar, which I have somewhere around here. Let's see here. Ooh, seltzer water. It's intense. Oh my god. Okay. Fire cider actually have some that's been cooking for a while for you all to taste. Is a wonderful thing to make at this time of year, because when the season changes, your immune system is transitioning from being upregulated to fight bacterial infections, which happen in the warmer months, to being upregulated to fight viral infections, which are happening more in the colder months. So you're kind of in this weak place when the temperature changes, because your immune system hasn't fully made that switch yet. So this is a really good preventative measure that is also delicious. And it has some of the things that we discussed, and I didn't discuss all of them, but they're all really good things because they're antimicrobial and also immune enhancing. This ginger's too old. Sorry, I think I got some newer stuff. So this ginger root, I also love this because this is an accessible thing to show people. Like, you can buy all of this stuff at the grocery store. So ginger is definitely a diaphoretic. It's something that will help heat up your body, which makes it less likely to harbor viruses. It's also really great for nausea. It's also really great to help your digestive organs be at their optimal. So I'm not even skinning this. I'm just kind of chopping it up for time's sake. I would dice it up a little bit more, but I'm just going to put it in here. It's also just a wonderful what we call a carminative, which is something that helps reduce bloating and gas. It also lowers blood pressure. And it also lowers cholesterol. So now I'm cutting up a hot pepper, which I'm just going to use one because I'm kind of a wimp about heat. And I'm going to put in the juice of a lime and a lemon. Now, most citruses are heavily sprayed with pesticides. So you want to wash your fruit, especially your citrus, because ingesting pesticides can also kill your good bacteria and cause a lot of other oxidative problems. So if these were organic or coming from a place that I knew they weren't sprayed by pesticides, then I would just chop up the whole thing, because the peel has other phytochemicals separate than the juice that you want that would be beneficial. And then I forgot the honey, but you could put honey in there, and that would be great, because like the propolis is very antibacterial. I think there's also antibacterial constituents in the honey itself. Oh, it's so fun. So this one's going to be pretty citrusy. I usually don't put this much citrus in it. Lemon is very alkalizing, which is great because we're constantly, especially in this culture, putting tons of acidifying foods into our bodies. Meat, dairy, coffee, all these things are increase our acidic load, and then we have to strip calcium from our bones to act as buffers. So anytime you drink lemon juice, it basically helps to alkalize those acidic things that you're putting in your body. Garlic, which now I'm putting in, we learned a lot about. One thing I didn't mention about garlic is it's actually also a prebiotic, which means that it's feeding the healthy gut bacteria or respiratory bacteria if you're inhaling it, or if you're eating it and the vapors are coming up through your mouth. I'm going to put a lot of it in here. So basically what you're doing is you're adding ginger, garlic, lemon, hot pepper, and honey into a jar that's hopefully a little bit cleaner than that one. And then you can also like throw whatever else you want in there. You can put thyme in there if you want to, have some like extra thyme goodness. If you want to have a good time. You can put some astragalus in there. So this is just a way to make a vinegar infusion. So here's all of my antibacterial, cardiovascular, protective, digestive system enhancing goodness in here. And then I'm just going to pour apple cider vinegar over it. And the apple cider vinegar is going to extract the medicine from those things. And just, what the hell, I'm going to throw some calendula in there. This is calendula flower. It's a really great lymphatic. It's going to make it a little bit more bitter. Good. Oh, wait, do I have a lid? Where did it go? Oh, we go. And then you want to let that sit on your countertop for about 3 days and just let it cook. And then stick it in your fridge. And you can leave it in there all winter, all fall, all winter. And anytime you feel like there's a little tickle in your throat or you feel like you might be coming down with something and you just want like a little boost, a little wellness formula, this is a wonderful thing. And it's also really good in seltzer water. Any questions?
Is it ready after 3 days?
Yeah, it like keeps cooking the longer it sits in there. So, like it'll keep getting more potent.
Sure.
But yeah, you could drink it after 3 days. Yeah.
You mentioned that the lemon juice helps like lower the acidity, but isn't the lemon juice also acidic? Like I was just curious.
Yeah, so that's a great question. There's a difference between something being acidic and something being acidifying to the body.
Okay.
So it is an acid, lemon juice, but actually when we ingest it, it has an alkalizing effect. Yeah. Yeah.
If you were going to drink it straight up, how much would you drink?
Well, I probably wouldn't drink it straight up on an empty stomach, because it's going to be pretty spicy. And I guess I would do like a couple tablespoons or half a shot glass. Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
I guess I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit about what you use to keep things clean in your
Yeah.
kitchen and just around.
I'm honestly not as good as I should be. Like this talk is really inspiring me to start making my own cleaning products. But when I do go home and make my own cleaning products, I would definitely use thyme essential oil in vinegar. I mean, you can, there's like recipes. I forget what it's called, but there's something that's called like, I think it's called Thieves. Like you can Google it. It's like 5 Thieves potion or something. And it basically is like a recipe for a natural cleaning counter spray. And it has essential oil of thyme, and I think it has lemon juice, and maybe some baking soda. Yeah. Yeah.
What are the benefits that you get from using herbs when you cook? Like, is it anywhere near, probably not near what you would get when you're taking them in this form, but
yeah. So anytime you heat something, you're degrading the life of it. So anytime you like make a tea, for instance, one way to work with that is just by covering it. So you want to keep like the steam in the cup as much as possible and just wait for it to cool enough so that you can take that plate off or that lid off and everything is kind of resumed back into the water. You're still getting a benefit from it by using it in food. And who's to say that you're not getting like a different type of benefit because it's actually mixing with all the phytochemicals in your food. Whereas if you're taking it as a medicine, you're just usually taking one, or you're taking a few in a formula. Yeah. But yeah, there is definitely degradation. And also you should keep your cooking spices away from the stove. That's kind of one of the horrible common things that people do is they keep their spices right next to the stove, which lessens them. Yeah.
This could be for both you and Patrick, but flu shots, yes or no?
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, we
man?
actually we were talking about
No.
this. Patrick, do you want to start it off?
All right.